Long story. It's been a tough morning. Here's the Tennessee-Virginia line. I'm headed north. More later. So, it's Sunday. I'm in Damascus. And today did not go at all as planned. But it's cold. It's windy. And I'm going to go to the car and give you the rest of the explanation. Because I can see it from here. Hope you're having, it's a bright sunny day. Hope you're having a wonderful day. I'm in Damascus, Virginia. So I guess I'm going to do something of a wrap up of last night and a little bit of today. I'm in Damascus. I'm in my car, obviously. Just had supper. Had supper with a very lovely thru hiker that I spent quite a bit of time with today, this morning. She's from Quebec. She's a nurse from Quebec. Anyway, last night my system kind of worked. I started looking at 6 o'clock. I found a campsite about 6:05, but when I looked at it, it had a lot of big stuff, big widowmakers, a lot of dead stuff. I thought I could do better. Hiked on about 6:20. I got to a pretty nice campsite, down in a bit of a valley, so it was fairly well protected. The overhead trees looked pretty good. And there was another hiker there who was sleeping in a hammock who had set up. I thought I knew who it was because I had been hiking with another hiker who had the same backpack. And of course, when somebody's in a hammock, you don't really see him. You just see, I saw his pack. And, well, anyway, it wasn't him. It was a different guy. And said hi. And we didn't chat a lot because he was already in bed. It was pretty early, but he was already in bed. So I went ahead and I got all set up, and I didn't do a video because I don't tend to talk when other people are trying to sleep. And I set up right near him, best spot I could find. This morning, I got up, and he was up, and I said, "How you doing?" He's like, "Oh, not very good." So this gentleman had started at Damascus yesterday and hiked up. He was going to hike to the shelter. He only got about halfway to the shelter, and he was at this campsite. So 6.5 miles up, something like that. And had set up his tent, set up his hammock. He didn't get any sleep at night. He said he froze. He was awake all night. And he decided he was going to go back to Damascus. He really wasn't ready for this. So he got out of camp before I did and headed north back to Damascus. I got packed up and started hiking, and about not more than 15 or 20 minutes later, I come across, he's sitting on a log on the trail, and he has dialed 911. He says he can't feel his hands, can't feel his feet, and he can't get himself out. We're 6+ miles from Damascus. So he had the 911 operator, and they were discussing the address of where he was and how to find him. And she thought he was south of Abington Shelter, but what he had said clearly said he was north of Abington Shelter, but she didn't apparently have a good map of the trail. And she told him, "Well, you stay put, we're going to get somebody for you, and you stay right where you are." Well, he was sitting on an open ridge line. The wind was blowing. He was cold and getting colder by the minute. It was going to be hours before anybody got to him, clearly. So I got him up. I gave him some candy. I gave him a set of mittens. I had hand warmers. I gave him hand warmers, mittens, some candy, and just got him heading back towards Damascus. His pace, I had him walk first. So he just slowly started, and he came around fairly quickly that he admitted he was a lot warmer walking than he was sitting. Lots of phone calls back and forth between his family calling him because apparently his phone had already given all of them an emergency notification, and calls from the fire department and from the 911 caller, and anyway, I hiked with him for most of the morning, and we hiked with him until finally the Damascus, interestingly, police/fire chief came up and met us. And we continued hiking along. We stayed with him. After I hiked with him for a while, another through hiker came along, Frodo, and Frodo took his pack for him. So Frodo carried his 30 roughly pound pack, and the gentleman whose name I don't know, his 20 something pound pack, 30 something pound pack at least, and he took them both and started carrying them down the trail. And he walked faster than I could with my own pack, so that's another story. Anyway, he took his pack down towards Damascus. Then another hiker came up from behind, little engine, and she's the nurse, and she and I hiked with him, and then eventually we met the fire chief / police chief, and the three of us hiked with him until about a mile and a half before Damascus. The crew from the fire station showed up with a stretcher with this big wheel on the bottom of it, and they loaded him in a litter, and they brought him down the rest of the way. But so that's why no video. That's why it's middle of the afternoon for me getting into Damascus. But definitely one of those days where you get to have a warm fuzzy. Really feels good. I'm sure he'll do fine. Pretty sure he will not be attempting a through hike again, and I'm sure he won't be doing it without doing a better check of the weather. Another little bit of a follow-up on the whole thing. Last night, tent site was good. This is minus the whole assist effort. The tent site was good. It was cold. It went down into the teens last night, so it was real cold. I did put my long johns on first time since January. I used my puffy as a pillow. Despite it being cold, I still never needed it. It wasn't that cold for me. I was warm. I slept good all night. I did break out my heavy mittens today because that let me free up my light mittens to give to him. And I broke out some hand warmers that I've been carrying the whole time since I started, and I haven't used any. So I broke out hand warmers and gave him hand warmers to put in the mittens. Seemed to make a pretty good difference. It was a nice hike down. The trail is good. There is a little bit of blowdown. Not a lot, not bad. It's an easy hike down for those of you who are hiking and wondering what it is from. About, I don't know, between 6.5 and 7 miles from Damascus into Damascus. Pretty easy hike. Hope you're having a wonderful day. Heading down into Gatlinburg, and I can see the mountains. Sun's shining off them. Pretty white snow up on top shows up pretty well. See one over there a ways farther. I don't know if you can see it, but it's very snow covered. They're all snow covered though. So I've got to figure out exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to be doing some looking at weather. The mountains down here are over 6,000 feet, so they do get their own weather. They're pretty. It'll be a challenge to hike. So I am back in Gatlinburg at the Crossroads Inn and Suites, I think it's called. Pretty good deal, like $130 for 2 nights total with all the taxes and fees, which there's a ton of. It's not real fancy, but it's actually pretty spacious. It's got a comfortable chair. Important for me, it's got a desk. It's got a bunch, you can see I've already moved in a lot of my stuff to try to resupply. It's got a lot of space. I got a microwave. I got a little refrigerator. Got a big TV. A first for me. There's a mirror in here that I don't think I know how to operate or program. It has all kinds of buttons and lights and stuff on it, so that's kind of cool. Get this kind of like an extra space here in the middle, a little closet and whatnot. Bathroom is fine. I got a tub. No complaints. I think it's a pretty good room for the money. And unlike before, when I was 3/4 of a mile or so off from the main strip of Gatlinburg, this time I'm actually like half a block off from the main strip of Gatlinburg. One disappointment on Hotels.com, there was guest laundry, because I really need to get my laundry done, and there is no guest laundry. That will be a comment to Hotels.com, obviously. So I got to get going, and I'm going to do the laundry, the hiker version of getting my laundry done tonight. I'm staying here for 2 nights, so I got all day tomorrow for everything to dry. And honestly, most of my stuff is designed to dry quickly anyway, so probably shouldn't be a problem. Hope you're having a wonderful night.